Welcome to a critical discussion centered in Detroit. Right now, a major strike is underway, pitting the United Auto Workers of America against the big three automakers, GM, Ford, and Stellantis. But this strike isn't just about wages. It's about the future of electric vehicles, clean energy, and even the 2024 presidential election. In this video, we'll explore the reasons behind this strike and its potential impact. We'll discuss why the location of these jobs matters and why this strike could be a pivotal moment for the Democratic Party. Detroit is currently in the midst of a significant strike. As of last Friday, the United Auto Workers of America, representing approximately 40% of the entire U.S. automotive industry workforce, has taken on the big three automakers, GM, Ford, and Stellantis, formerly Chrysler, with the primary objective of incorporating electric vehicle employees into the union. Auto industry strikes always hold substantial importance, but this one carries even greater weight. The unions are not merely seeking a minor increase in wages. This struggle could potentially shape not only the trajectory of the clean energy transition in the United States, but also influence the outcome of the 2024 presidential election and determine the future course of the Democratic Party. It's a noble fight, albeit a highly precarious one. First and foremost, we must consider where and how electric vehicles are manufactured. While President Joe Biden's initial executive order on climate change and the climate stimulus bill, which initially passed through the House of Representatives, were explicitly pro-union, the final Inflation Reduction Act, which, despite its name, is a climate bill, favored domestic labor without specifically requiring union labor. This shift was not solely due to opposition from Joe Manchin, the Democratic senator from West Virginia, who played a pivotal role in the passage of the IRA. It also resulted from vigorous lobbying efforts by foreign multinational corporations, many of which aim to utilize the American South, where many new EV jobs are emerging due to lower labor and environmental standards, as a sort of personal China. The fact that this race to the bottom is occurring on American soil is one of the reasons behind the strike. The UAW is determined to ensure that workers involved in producing electric vehicle batteries and other components receive the benefits of union representation. In some ways, this is a life or death battle for the union. The transition to electric vehicles is anticipated to significantly reduce job numbers in the automotive sector in the short term, as the production of EVs requires fewer components and consequently fewer workers on assembly lines compared to traditional internal combustion engine cars. Back in 2022, Ford CEO Jim Farley stated that the EV transition might necessitate 40% fewer workers. Some individuals, including those advocating for workers' interests, might argue, why does the location of these jobs matter as long as they are in the United States? However, there are compelling political reasons for this concern. This brings us to the second point, which relates to the potential impact on the 2024 presidential election. Union membership has significantly dwindled in the United States over the past few decades, but it still represents a crucial part of the Democratic voting base. One of the reasons Donald Trump won the presidency in 2016 was due to the support of union labor in swing states like Pennsylvania. Since then, union officials have worked diligently to educate their members about the former president's failure to fulfill his promises to workers. However, if Biden cannot resolve this strike, Trump could benefit, and American democracy could suffer. For this reason, there is concern about the scope of these strikes. On one hand, it is understandable that auto workers, who made significant concessions during the 2008 financial crisis and its aftermath, seek a larger share of the substantial profits generated by the big three automakers, which have increased by 92% in the past decade. Just last week, Biden himself acknowledged that record corporate profits necessitate record contracts for workers. If he is ousted from office in 2024, it won't only be American unions that suffer the consequences. Regardless of the outcome, these strikes and the broader transition to electric vehicles are precipitating a critical moment for the Democratic Party. The affluent progressive communities on the coasts, who predominantly drive Teslas representing 60% of all EVs sold in the US, often prioritize addressing climate change over labor rights. However, if the Republican Party nominates Trump and he wins, neither the planet nor workers will be safer. How can Biden reconcile this economic and political dilemma? Perhaps by expanding the focus from the UAW's specific demands to the necessity of establishing a comprehensive global coalition centered on carbon pricing and labor standards. While some may argue that China flooding Europe with EVs, in violation of World Trade Organization rules, is of lesser concern compared to getting more affordable EVs on the road, the harsh political reality is that if Western countries are seen as sacrificing their own workers, a broader shift toward Trump-style autocratic populism becomes more likely. A preferable approach would be for the United States and Europe to collaborate and establish joint labor and environmental standards for EV production. This would help prevent a race to the bottom with either China or each other, and could involve imposing tariffs on vehicles that fail to adhere to these standards. These standards should also account for the overall carbon footprint of production. It's crucial to understand how much coal-powered electricity or forced labor is involved in manufacturing clean energy components, whether they originate from China or elsewhere. The stakes are simply too high to permit another race to the bottom. Thank you for joining us in this deep dive into the ongoing strike in Detroit, where the fight for workers' rights and the future of electric vehicles collide. It's clear that this strike carries immense significance, not only for the automotive industry, but also for American politics and the environment. As we conclude, we encourage you to stay informed about the developments surrounding this strike and its impact on the 2024 presidential election and beyond. The decisions made in the coming days and weeks could shape the course of history. If you found this video informative and thought-provoking, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your engagement helps raise awareness about the critical issues at stake here. Thank you for being a part of this conversation, and let's keep the dialogue going as we navigate the challenging road ahead.